Hey guys, what's up? I hope you guys are doing well. I am driving, so I'm gonna be looking at the road while I talk to you. But I thought that while I do my drive, I would talk about something I just saw in the media this morning that I think is worth kind of paying attention to, not from a gossipy standpoint, but really from an analysis and learning standpoint. You guys know that I'm really big on wealth and wealth building, and also the most important part of wealth building actually is once you've actually achieved the wealth, you have to have a pathway to protect the wealth. One of the biggest ways that wealth gets destroyed, besides leaving your money to your children who don't protect it the way you did, is also through divorce. The average divorcee's wealth level drops by about 70%. And that's for the husband and the wife, and a lot of that is because the lawyers get all the money. The lawyers take up all the money. So you have this actor named Tracy Morgan, who's an actor and a comedian. I ain't gonna lie, I've never thought Tracy Morgan was funny, but who cares what I think? I'm not here to diss. I'm just here to say that I really wonder I wonder who was behind the scenes giving him all these opportunities when he clearly was not the funniest guy in the group. And I don't say this about any of the other major comedians like Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock, but with Tracy Morgan, I never got it. It never made sense to me. But either way, Tracy Morgan, has made a lot of money, not just as an actor and a comedian, but also he got $90 million in a settlement from Walmart. If you recall, Walmart, they slammed into his van, or it was either a van he was in or a limo, whatever it was, and they paid him $90 million. Well, apparently, Tracy is getting a divorce now from his wife, Megan. Now, Megan is 33 years old, so Tracy married young, and it's up to you to decide how you want to do that. And Megan wants half. And I was like, ooh, half? Ooh, half? Half is a big number when you're Tracy Morgan. And especially when you got a $90 million settlement. $90 million is a lot of money for almost anybody. The only person who probably wouldn't consider $90 million to be a big deal is somebody like Jeff Bezos, because he makes probably about $100 million a day, or 50 to $100 million every single day. So anyway, Tracy, the classic, you asked the operative question. Excuse me, did Tracy have a prenup? Well, from my research, from the articles I read this morning, the answer was no. They said he did not have a prenup, and as a result of not having a prenup, Tracy is about fin to pay. He is about to pay big time, and having prenups, is something that you should do. I don't really care how much you love that person. I don't care how great they seem. A prenup is just good also just to make sure there's no misunderstandings. Like, just to make sure that we don't get confused to the point where you think that my money, all my money that I've earned my whole entire life is your money. Remember, Tracy married Megan about 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, Tracy was maybe in his early to mid 40s. Megan was in her late 20s. So you are an old dude marrying a young woman. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with dating a younger woman. I'm not judging that at all. Scientific studies show that men are attracted to young, attractive women. That's just what it is. And sometimes young, attractive women are attracted to older, more mature, more established men. That's fine. But you got to make sure you know what it is. If when you look at that couple and you look at them together, for a fact that as gorgeous as Megan is, she probably wouldn't have married Tracy if he was wearing a Burger King uniform. If he was wearing a Burger King uniform when she met him, give me a yes or no. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen the picture of Megan. You might have seen it when you were coming to this video. Looking at that picture, just keeping it 100. If Tracy had walked up in his Burger King uniform and said, "Hey girl, how you doing? My name's Tracy Morgan. I'd like to get to know you, Like, do you think that Megan would have gave him the time of day? I don't think she would have. I think Megan would have been like, no, right? So Megan clearly had an agenda, and it's fine. I mean, I'm not judging it. And the reason I don't judge it is because a lot of times we want to call women gold diggers because they want a man that's financially secure and all this other stuff. And I don't think that's always fair. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can't have gold diggers. You can't have people that put money. But actually, I read a lot of stuff about biology. I'm always fascinated with love and attraction and what makes human beings attracted to each other. And one of the things I've consistently read is that women have an attraction to things that make them feel secure. Like, that's why taller men are on average tend to be more attractive. That's why men who are more powerful on average are more attractive. Men who are more intelligent on average are more attractive. Men who are stronger and more confident on average are more attractive. Men who are financially secure on average are more attractive. It doesn't mean every woman wants a tall man or every woman wants a rich man. It just means that typically, that ability to provide security is a very attractive thing. But, and that's no different from, men who like women with big booties, or men who like a woman with pretty eyes, right? So if you're going to judge women for being attracted to men who have financial security, then you should judge men who are attracted to a big butt and a smile, right? Because it's the same thing. I mean, you're attracted to something that has nothing to do with their personality. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm too old to be in a position where I'm going to walk around believing the BS that people are attracted to each other just because of the person that they are. No, it has to do with a lot of other things outside of just, how great the conversations are. That's part of it for sure. That's wonderful for sure. But a lot of y'all would not date. I don't give me a yes or no. A lot of you probably wouldn't date an incredibly ugly, screwed up, dysfunctional person who happens to have a great personality, right? So anyway, so Tracy is gonna get body slammed in court because Tracy did not make a plan. You know what? It looks like I'm losing my signal, so I think I'm going to have to come back a little bit later. I hate this. I took a gamble and I lost. So I rolled the dice and I did not win. But, at the end of the day, I think it's very important to understand, like people ask me about me and Alicia, do you have a prenup? Hell yeah, I have a prenup. I definitely have a prenup because things happen and relationships end and things don't go the way you expect them to. And I think that for Tracy to be that grown and to not understand the importance of a prenup, I just don't get it. But then again, like I said, I never thought Tracy was all that bright or all that talented, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and act like I'm a big admirer of Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan. If he depended on people like me to be his fans and to help him get his bills paid, he'd be broke as hell, because I rarely will watch a movie that Tracy Morgan's in. I'm barely gonna watch Coming to America. I'm gonna watch that because I just love it so much. But I was real annoyed when I saw that Tracy Morgan and Leslie Jones were both in the movie, because I think Leslie Jones is nothing but a big walking stereotype, and Tracy Morgan is ridiculous too. Like, he's just not that funny. I'll laugh at Chris Rock. I laugh at Dave Chappelle. I can laugh at because I like Chris and Dave because they're at least they're intelligent people. I used to laugh a lot at and can analyze some of what he did, and I think that's so hilarious. Or he's playing Buckwheat. Ooh. Or Kill My Landlord. He's playing the violent black man. White people think that's so funny, and I think it's interesting because you wonder, could he have played other characters that represented a broader reflection of humanity and still got the same reaction from white people? Could he have played the characters Chevy Chase might play and have that be okay? I don't know. I would just say, at the end of the day, I think that when sometimes we think people are laughing with us, but they're not laughing with you, they're laughing at you. And America laughs at the black man. America laughs at the black woman, and we laugh along with them because we think it's funny. But really, we're almost like you ever see the poor kid who's maybe got Down syndrome at school? Uh-oh. I hope I'm back. Let me know if I'm back. Give me a yes or no if I'm back. I'm driving, so sometimes the signal goes in and out. But black people, unfortunately, sometimes we're a little bit like the disabled kids. You got the disabled kid who's being made fun of every day. They're bullying him at lunch. They're clowning him. They're pouring spaghetti on his head, and everybody laughs. He starts laughing too, like hoo 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 hoo, right? Because he really wants to have friends. He thinks that these people are his friends, and really they're not laughing with him. They're laughing at him, and he thinks that that's a good thing. He's like, oh, these are my friends. That's my friend Chad. That's my best friend Billy. And these are not your friends. These are your enemies, but you think they're your friends. Well, I think black people do that. Like, we'll sit there and we will laugh with our enemies and who are laughing at us and not with us. And we really think that these people are our friends. So Eddie Murphy thought that those white people on Saturday Night Live were laughing with him, and they were really laughing at him. Terry Crews is another example. I think Terry Crews, he paid a big price to be as successful as he is. God bless him. I hope the money's worth it. But I don't think it is. But then again, I've never known what it's like to sign a $30 million contract. So maybe there's something to it. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I'll say this. I know guys who will date young women, and I think that's fine. But I think that if you do that, you better know what it is. Like, I dated a younger woman before. It was actually kind of fun. She was actually pretty cool, but I knew what it was. Like, I'd never expected that, that this thing was actually something that was going to last forever. I also was prepared for the fact that, I knew that I wasn't her age. She was not mine. There are things I could benefit from by having a younger person around me, things she would benefit from by having an older man around. But at the end of the day, sometimes you can't get over that difference. And I think that with Tracy, for him to say, okay, now that I have money, I can marry up. I can marry a gorgeous woman. I can get me a young woman or whatever. That's fine to think that. But then don't be surprised when she tries to play you, or when you realize that, she had an agenda that you didn't necessarily count on. So I think that with Tracy, I definitely would have signed a prenup. I don't understand how a guy who's worked his whole life to build wealth can marry some 20-something-year-old woman, who I don't know how much money she had. Maybe she was independently wealthy, but I'm gonna assume she didn't have as much money as Tracy Morgan. And I don't see how you would marry somebody like that without a prenup. Like, what did you think that you was just so madly in love that she could never ever try to take your money? Well, that's not reality. That's not reality. I mean, in life, relationships change. People, people decide, okay, so now it's time for me to take care of me. And I've always lived under the assumption that other people are going to take care of themselves first. Now Alicia thinks I'm just a cynic because I think that way, but actually it's for my own protection. If I already make the assumption that you're going to take care of you, then I know that it's my job to take care of me. And I'm going to make sure, so I'm going to make sure, like, hey, you know what? This is really great. I love you. I think you're awesome. And I want to make sure that you're well taken care of. But let's get this prenup signed so there's no misunderstandings, so we don't end up hating each other's guts after we have been in love with each other for all this time. And I think that people should have a pragmatic approach to these things. I think that if you think that your romantic life is disconnected from your financial life, then you don't understand how money and finance works. Most money and finance comes from family. Most money and finance is deeply linked to family structure. And so, now Ivy says he probably cheated on her, or she could have cheated on him. Men and women cheat, things happen. But given that he's a celebrity, he's got the celebrity lifestyle, you're introduced to a lot of vices that probably don't fit with a traditional marriage. Like I imagine Tracy Morgan didn't have that much vagina thrown at him when he was just a broke guy living in the projects. But when you become a Hollywood star, you go out to LA, you got all kinds of stuff coming at you. I saw things. I saw things coming at me when I was in LA, and very surprising to me. Like I was like, why is it that people respond to somebody that's famous in that way? Like, what is it about fame that makes people like literally lose their damn mind? And so I think Tracy probably, there's a good chance Tracy might have participated in all of that. And I don't know if that makes him a good or a bad person. I'll just say, though, that marriage comes with all these rules, these restrictive rules. And, when you break those rules, end up looking kind of crazy. Like, look at Will and Jada. I mean, my God, they had a they had this so-called picture perfect relationship, and then the whole August Alsina thing comes out, and I remember thinking, here's the thing though, I guess maybe because I'm older than some of you, I never thought that relationship was perfect ever. I was like, wow, they're really doing a great job of pretending to have a perfect relationship, and people are really going for this. Like, people really are looking at this relationship like some beacon of hope. And I'm just here to tell you, anybody who's looking to be in a serious, long-term, committed, marital type relationship, most of those relationships are not as wonderful as they appear to be. Some of those relationships, and in fact, I believe that the more perfect it appears to be, the more dysfunctional it probably is underneath the surface. A lot of relationships are like synchronized swimming. You ever watch synchronized swimming, where at the top of the water you see these women or men with their legs and arms moving in perfect synchronicity, but then when they show the camera below the water, it's complete chaos, like people flopping their arms and going crazy and everything else. So what's happening is they're participating in the chaos in order to maintain the appearance of order, right? They're creating extreme chaos to give the appearance of perfection. So typically, the more perfection they want to portray, the more chaos they must endure under the water. So a lot of your so-called perfect relationships that look perfect on the surface are quite chaotic underneath the water. So there you go. That's my 2 cents. But at the end of the day, Tracy should have signed that prenup. I don't care how much I love you. You could be the daughter of God, and we still signed a prenup, because prenups don't mean I don't love you. Prenup just means, just in case things go wrong, I don't want there to be any misunderstandings. I don't want you to mistakenly believe that everything that I've worked for my whole entire life belongs to you just because we met each other 2 years ago. Like, I don't think that's smart. Studies also show, this is why you gotta be careful with love and relationships. Studies also show that love literally makes you stupid. Love is so powerful, and attraction is so powerful. You can't get around love, sex, and attraction. It is designed by the universe to be the most powerful thing in the world, and it is so powerful that it literally makes you stupid. It literally makes you see things that aren't there. It makes you not see things that are right in your face. It makes you see the world in a way that's not accurate, consistent with reality, and you see it happen every single day. So that's why I say that before you give somebody the power to control you in that way, just be thoughtful about who you're giving that power to. So like ladies, if you lay down with a man and you let him touch you, like these guys that got all these kids and all these diseases and are having sex with all these women, they're probably doing that for a reason. There's something attractive about them. They're good at sex. They're good at knowing what a woman wants. They're good at making a woman feel good. And once you get under that spell, then unfortunately that's when bad things happen. Like a guy like Future, he puts women under his spell, and then next thing you know, they end up looking real stupid. They end up being baby mama number 12, but the same thing is true for men. Most men that get brought down, I was watching Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. I was watching a documentary about that last night. And you think about this, right? This man's president of the United States, one of the smartest men around, very accomplished, very hardworking, very focused, very determined, very strong. And his whole presidency got smeared because of a blowjob, or 2 or 3 or 10, right? And so, a lot of times, usually when great men get brought down, it's because of something that has to do with their choice when it comes to a woman. And the thing is that Bill's enemies were looking for a way to get him. That's the thing. When you get on top, your enemies are going to be plotting on your ass every day. When you sleeping, they plotting. And if they see any weakness, they're going to use that weakness. So with Bill Clinton, they said his weakness is women. They had all this unrelated shit. It was not Watergate. It was called I forgot what, Whitewater. They had the Whitewater thing going on in that lawsuit. They couldn't get shit on him. Linda Tripp, some ugly lady from years ago that he was messing with, was suing him. They couldn't get him on that. But when they found out about Monica Lewinsky, they set up Linda Tripp. Not Linda, sorry, her name was Linda. Linda Tripp was the lady that set him up. The other was Paula Jones. That was the lady who was suing him. So Linda Tripp comes to the feds, right? And she's like, okay, I know y'all want to get Bill Clinton. I know a lady that he's sleeping with. So this is what gangsters do. Like, this is gangster shit. I've heard equivalent stories about this happening in the street. Literally, I'm talking about dudes getting killed because their rival finds out that he's messing with some girl, or that he likes jump offs. So they plan a pretty girl with a big booty right in front of him so they can get him alone naked so they can pop in and kill him. Like I know stories like this. Like, this really does happen in the real world, not just in the movies. So with Bill Clinton, they did the gangster shit. They said, Linda Tripp was like, I know he's messing with this intern. And so they basically put a wire. They gave Linda Tripp recording equipment so she could record Monica on the phone talking about her relationship with Bill Clinton. And then when Bill Clinton had sex with her, I guess he put his semen on her dress, and the biggest piece of evidence they had was the semen on the dress. So what they did then was they said, okay, we're going to then bring him into court and ask him, we're going to ask him, did you sleep with this woman? And in the court of law, if you lie about anything, like if they say, what did you eat for breakfast? And you say, I ate bacon and eggs, and you really ate oatmeal, they could prosecute you for that. Like, they could prosecute you for any lie in the court of law. It's bullshit, but it's true. So that's how they got Bill Clinton. That's how they almost completely destroyed his presidency. And they definitely smeared his legacy. And it was because they looked for that little weakness, and it had to do with his attraction to young women. So for men, I understand what it's like to be a man. I'm a regular red-blooded heterosexual male. Life is the same. Life is real for everybody. But you must be very thoughtful about every situation you enter into. If you are, whether you're male or female, you must be very careful about who you let into your life. You must be very careful about situations that you enter. You must be very careful about who you trust. You must be very careful about who you let get close to you. You have to be very careful about all of that. And even when you're super careful, you still are going to probably find yourself in the middle of some bullshit. Sometimes you can't avoid the bullshit. But I think for Tracy Morgan, he's been a celebrity for 20 something years. He's made a lot of money. He's worked hard for that money. I don't think something as basic as a prenup or lack thereof should be the thing that destroys all his wealth. I'm just kind of like, wow, man, like, what was going through your mind when you did this? But then again, maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't care about his money. I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to go, guys. Have a good day. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. I will see you soon. And it was great talking to you. And I hope that you heard what I said from a place of love. It's not a place of judgment. It's just me sharing honest to God, real life facts. But manage your damn relationships, because that's what brings people down. That's what fucks up everything else that you have going on in your life. I knew a woman. I'm gonna tell you the story, then I'm gonna bounce out. I knew of a lady. I didn't know her directly. I knew somebody who knew her very well. She was a high-flying professor. She was really successful. She had accomplished all these great things. Had won awards. Had was a PhD, all this other stuff. So she, because she wanted to stand by the black man and do the right thing, she marries this weak ass dude. This dude was not like her. He tried to go to law school. He failed out. He couldn't pass the bar, or I don't even think he finished law school. Like, it was like one of those type things where he always tried stuff but never succeeded at anything. Couldn't stick to nothing. Was always blaming other people. Just a little bitch. And then he would get really jealous. Like, people like that tend to be very jealous because they see other people who are superior to them, who might draw the attention of their significant other. So he wasn't just a weak man and a bitch. He was a weak, jealous bitch. So this weak, jealous bitch of a man, one day, after she's winning all these awards and she's high flying and he's becoming more and more insecure, thinking that he's going to lose her, do you know what this guy does? They had 2 children. He kills her. He shoots her and kills her, and then he kills himself. And this guy and they had 2 young children under the age of 6. So this weak ass, bitch ass, punk ass of a man kills his wife and kills himself. So that destroyed. So everything that she had accomplished in her life professionally, all that's gone. And it wasn't just professional, personally. Now her children are orphans. All because she ended up married to the wrong person. So sometimes you can't avoid the mistake. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes love tricks us. But most of the time, when love is trying to trick you, you're getting warning signs everywhere. You're just choosing not to see them because you're too involved in the feel good of whatever situation that you're in. And You know, and I just am of a believer that even though you can't do this perfectly, like I don't think anybody does the love equation perfectly. I don't believe. I know I haven't shit. I know if y'all do my shit out here, I'm sure I'd have plenty of situations. Like I mean, just so many times where I'm like, man, oh my God, I was so stupid. What was I thinking? Right? We all go through that. But at the very least, trying your best to make the smart decision can go a very long way. Learning from your bad choices can go a long way. And understanding the fundamental reality that your personal life and your professional accomplishments are connected, they're linked. You know, and the more successful you become, at least in my world, I know that the more successful I become, the more enemies I'm gonna have, the more people I'm gonna have waiting on my downfall, the more people you have that are gonna people just like that. They like to watch the train crash. They like to see people, they get, you know, they get upset when somebody's on top, so they like to see them fall down. Um, and that just means you have to be more thoughtful. You got to be strategic. You got to think about every step. You know, before you let that girl get next to you with the big butt and smile, you got to process that for a minute and say, okay, is this really worth the trade-off? Why are you here? Like, what is this for? What's really happening here? You know, and I think ladies have to do the same thing, because men and women, people just know their tricks. You know, I knew, I remember when Lawrence Taylor got caught up in that weird thing with a young hook that was underage, and somebody told me the whole backstory behind it, and I was absolutely fascinated by the depths to which people strategically calculated how to take certain men down by pointing out their vices. So men, we're stupid. We'll lay our weaknesses out there in the street for anybody to exploit. Like, you know, think about this. Think about how many guys you know who have a lot to lose, who will let any pretty girl get right next to them. Well, shit. If I want to murder you, like if I really want to take you out, all I gotta do is find the pretty girls and get him call and say, okay, I need you to get his attention. Get him, tell him you're gonna take him to the hotel room. Get him to the room. Get him naked, so I know he ain't got no weapons. And then me and my boys gonna go in there. And we gonna deal with his ass. Like, that's literally how I would do it. Like, I'm not a killer, but don't push me, right? I'm not. I wouldn't do this to anybody. I'm not. Thank God I don't think that way in real life. I would never do that to another person. But if I did, that's what I do. I'd be like, oh, okay. So we know what he likes. So let's get him what he likes, so we can suck him into a situation to make him vulnerable. So that's what people do. They can figure out what you like, and they do that with ladies. Like, if a man is really trying to go get some ass, and he's, you know, he wants you to be baby mama number 11 because he's a sex addict and he just loves to have sex with everything that moves, he's going to figure out what you like and lure you in with that, and then that way he's going to get what he wants. So, you know, I think with Tracy Morgan, you know, it looks like he's going, you know, maybe it was worth it, but that young girl going to cost him a few $1,000,000. It's gonna cost him. I mean, I don't know how much money, how much of that Walmart money he still got. I think Walmart paid him 90 million. So if he's got even, you know, even 10% of that, you know, she's getting at least 4.5 of that, and that's what she's asking for in court. She's asking for half of the 90 million. She's asking for half of all his money that he made, you know, to this point. She also wants a big percentage of the money he's gonna make going forward. So whether people want it to be or not, marriage is a lifetime commitment. You marry somebody, you be paying for that shit. Is that shit too. And then you say, look, if you don't pull out your guns, I won't pull out mine. Well, let's make this as smooth as possible. That's what it is. Or like when people have secret relationships or affairs or whatever, like people, that stuff happens. I believe you should, you know, if you're gonna cheat or if you're gonna have some secret, you know, like stuff going on, everybody, you know, a lot of people have that, you know, late night booty call type stuff going on. Get somebody that's got something to lose. Get somebody who is equally interested in keeping this to themselves. Like if you get somebody that has nothing going on except for you, then what happens is you end up looking stupid like Jada did. I think Will was not just so mad at, I have a hard time believing Will had no idea that Jada lived her life. Will lives his life. I believe Will lives his life. And again, I want to be very careful, because I met Will's brother Harry and I talked to him for hours at a time, and I thought Harry was a wonderful guy, a brilliant guy, and I'd consider him to be a friend. He's in my cell phone. I like Harry a lot, and he looks like Will, which was very strange to talk to somebody who looks just like Will Smith. It was very crazy. But I say this with all due respect. I would bet you $100 billion that things like this have happened before, that Will was aware of the presence that August had in their life on some level, or Will was aware of something. And I also would be willing to bet you $100 billion that Will has done his dirt too, that Will's lived his life also. What I think Will was upset about, and which I think he should have been upset about, is not so much what you did, but who you did it with. You know, think about this. Out of all the people that you could have had an entanglement with, you choose a mentally unstable. August Alsina is unstable. Like, this guy, I don't even know much about this guy. I think he's a good singer. I heard him sing for 30 seconds. But I remember one clip I saw him, I said, this dude is not stable. And this was before all this. This was years ago. I remember thinking, wow, I wouldn't want to be around that dude. He seems like he's a little bit off. So you, out of all the people you could have been entangling with, you don't entangle with a mature man. You don't entangle with a man that's got some decency and respect, where he's gonna care about you enough to not blow up your spot, right? You're not entangling with a man who's got something to lose. You're entangling with a young, immature guy who maybe dabbles in drugs, who's clearly mentally unstable and just does not give a fuck. So he's gonna go out on radio stations and he's gonna advertise and market your relationship like it's a McDonald's commercial. Like, he's marketing this as the best way in the world to sell his album, and it's screwing up everything we worked for the last 25 years. I'm sorry. That's what I think Will was mad about. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe he was really hurt and sad, like, oh my goodness, the idea of my wife sleeping with another. Life ain't that simple, man. Seriously. I think that that couple, I think that when you look at these power couples, you look at Will and Jada, you look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, you look at the Clintons, you look at Barack and Michelle. These are professional marriages. Like, these people are professionals in the sense that they are they're veterans of this shit. Like, they're rock solid in terms of understanding the agenda and understanding that their relationship is an institution for the community, and that they want to just maintain that so they can keep getting paid and maintain their public profile. I just don't think it's as basic as, oh, well, do you think I'm cute? Oh, you were with somebody else. Oh, I can't do this anymore because we don't love each other anymore. I don't believe their relationships are that basic. I think that they understand their relationships are $100 million, billion-dollar empires. So I think Will was probably most pissed. I would have been most pissed, not over the vagina. I mean, sure, vaginas have value, but come on, man. I think Will was mad because it's like, why are we even dealing with the fact that this little kid who wasn't even born when you and I started dating, I don't even think he was born. I think he was born Jada after they met each other, right? So this little kid who just came along in the 1990s is fucking up everything we've worked for the last 25 or 30 years. That's what I think Will was mad about. And honestly, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I think, and again, so I think that, to me, I remember when Jada was talking about having an addiction to porn, and she said something about having a porn addiction. And I remember I was like, that's interesting. You don't usually hear a lot of women talk about having a porn addiction. I was, I wonder how her kids feel with their mother going on a TV show talking about I was addicted to porn. Like, that would probably traumatize me. Whether it's mother or father, it's just a little bit awkward and weird. And it kind of, I think it's a little bit too much of a price to pay for fame. I really think it's like, okay, I think you could probably get ratings on your show without going out and talking about your porn addiction. But hey, it's to each his own. But when I thought about the porn addiction, usually I imagine the porn addiction might be linked to some sort of sexual addiction. Definitely an addiction to feeling good, right? And if you listen to what Jada said in that interview, she was talking about how her and August made her feel good. Like, I just wanted to feel good. And it was so it's sort of like this addiction to endorphins, right? Which would drive a porn addiction. And this addiction, probably, I imagine, maybe it did to her what addictions do to a lot of people. Addictions are a problem typically when it starts to disrupt other areas of your life. That's what a lot of therapists say, that when if you drink, but you drink to the point where you're missing work, or you're not showing up to pick your kids up at school, or your marriage is falling apart, then you got a serious drinking problem. So I connect that addiction to the porn and all this other stuff the same way you might look at a drug addiction. It was an addiction that wasn't so much a matter of her being a recreational user of sex or whatever. It was more of an addiction that caused disruption to other parts of her life. Like, you're going to lose maybe tens of millions of dollars in brand value because they were a brand, right? You're going to lose tens of millions of dollars in brand value because you couldn't keep it in your pants, right? Or you are keeping it in your pants maybe, but you're not keeping it in your pants in the right situations. So I would say this, like, so to just sort of sum that up and wrap that point up, I think there's a difference between somebody who steps out in their marriage. Honestly, a lot of these marriages, a lot of these people cheat. It's just a fact. I know it might bust some of y'all's bubbles, but there's a lot beneath the surface that people don't talk about. Um, I think there's a difference between somebody who carefully chooses when they're going to do something that is against the rules and chooses who they're going to be with and ensures that it's a situation that isn't going to disrupt their family or disrupt their business or disrupt other parts of their life, versus somebody who has an addiction that's so strong that they'll do it anytime, anywhere, with anybody. Almost like when somebody told me that they would get on that Tinder app and they would just swipe left or swipe right and be having raw dog sex with somebody that they just met an hour earlier, like that night, like they would swipe so that night they could sleep with somebody that they never met and not even use a condom. Like, there are people that do that, and those people, if you are in that category, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to tell you that you should get some help, because your addiction is going to cause you a lot of problems in other areas of your life. And for those who are not in that category, I would tell you to be careful, because there are people who appear to be perfectly normal who do things like that, and they will never tell you. They will never tell you. Like when Kobe Bryant was sleeping with this lady that he met 45 minutes earlier, back in Colorado, the one who accused him of rape. She probably didn't tell him, oh, by the way, I've got semen from 2 other men in my panties right now because I have this addiction, right? So I just really, and with Kobe being a multi-million-dollar brand, having a family at home, having children that he doesn't want to embarrass himself in front of, I don't really necessarily know if that was the best decision, right? So that's my 2 cents on it. I know I said a lot, and you guys know. I mean, to me, if I'm going to talk about something like Tracy Morgan's divorce, I'd rather have it be something we can learn from and think about, as opposed to just us gossiping about this man's divorce. I really don't give a shit about Tracy Morgan or his life. I just think it's interesting. And so, if you get married, get a prenup. Just do it. Just tell them Uncle Boyce said get a prenup, and it don't mean I don't love you. It just means I want to make sure there's no misunderstandings. All right, got it? We good? We makes it? Are we on the same page? All right. So have a good day, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button before you go. And also, just don't forget that next weekend we're doing the Black Stock Market Weekend. We're going to spend 3 days going through my process for picking stocks. It's an 11-step methodology I put together for the Black Business School. So if you'd like to join us, go to blackstockmarketweekend.com. That's blackstockmarketweekend.com. I'm out of here, guys. Take care. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Peace.